Hey, hi everybody.
Hi everybody.
Hey, you got audio.
I do. Yay.
Wow. Hopefully it stays.
Yes.
So
That'd be good.
here we are in Ohio. I quit saying Springfield, Ohio, because we're everywhere in Ohio now.
Yep.
And Saturday, 1 p.m. And we got a really, really big show today. And we're very excited about this. And we get to address, well, I have a Zoe. She's kind of looking like a football with legs. And we've got Levi on here. He's going to help me out with that. Give everybody some advice. He's a nutritionist. But we're going to get going right away because we have an awesome dog, and he's moving right now. We want to catch this. Okay,
yes, let's bring him up.
I want you to meet Cheb. And there he is. You're up, Laurel. Hi, Laurel.
Hi.
You're making a difference with this boy, aren't you? Which one's Cheb? Oh, there he is.
Chevy is. Yeah, my girl is in the way because she's
She photobombing.
Oh yeah. Hey, Chevy.
Well, she wants to be on the show too. You know,
She wants to be popular. Yes, she does.
she says I'm his foster sister, so she gets attention too.
There he is.
He moves. He does. This is great.
Yeah.
There we go. Now we're back in position.
Sweetie, yeah.
We get to see how big his butt is, right?
That's pretty much. I was
All right.
trying to flip him around so he'd show you his face. But
Yeah. For those of you folks that may not remember Laurel, we had Bruce on. He was our tripod that, well, Laurel had him too. So, So when Bruce got adopted, Laurel continues to make a difference, and she's fostering Cheb, and now he's a senior. What can you tell us about him?
Cheb is about 11 years old, and he came from a farm. He's a retired farm dog, and I think he has never lived in a house before. But so he's starting to check out the toy box, and he'll take some really good treats from your hand. So. He's a really sweet guy. I work from home, and he comes by maybe twice a day to say hi, and then pretty much sleeps most of the day.
Pretty much. So he's not a real high energy dog, is he?
No, he gets like maybe a 10-minute walk is all, maybe a half a mile is all he really wants. And then sweet. He'll lay by my feet all day and not much of a barker. So
he's just enjoying his retirement.
He's enjoying his retirement. Sweet guy though. Really love him.
His golden years.
So how I understand he had a couple of medical things going on, just kind of minor stuff that he had to get some stuff removed surgically. Can you?
Yeah.
Was all that
when he
benign?
arrived? Yeah. So when he arrived, the farmer had done some surgery of their own on his neck, and so he had like a something on his neck, and so we ended up taking him to the vet because he needed to get neutered still, and they cleaned that up, and it was nothing, and then he had a cyst on his neck, which was nothing, and then he had a mass on his side, which turned out that was biopsied but was not cancerous. So he's on the mend.
All right.
He has a little spot where he had his
How is he with your cats, or do you have cats?
I have a cat, and so far nothing. I mean, there've been a couple standoffs by the basement door where the food is, but otherwise, like, he'll growl, the cat will bat him, and then everyone breaks it up. So he doesn't chase. But he has a thing for squirrels lately.
I have a feeling the cat can outrun him anyway.
Well, yeah. And the cats used to my Pyr too, so who constantly pesters it.
And what about kids? Yeah, any idea how he would do it with kids?
He seems pretty. I only have a teenager who lays all over him, no boundaries. He really tolerates it. Like, he'll just, she lays her head on his stomach and plays with his paws, and he just lays there like this, sort of flops over. I'm sorry we're not getting a face shot, but there's no flipping him over.
Yeah, be careful what you say about no boundaries. Romans down there listening right now.
We have We do have a couple of questions. So Sharon Rogers asked how he would do with the laid back 5-year-old female Pyr.
I think he would do fine. My Pyr is almost 3, almost 4, and she's kind of a pest. And he doesn't seem to even mess with her. Like, sometimes they'll get a little case of the zoomies together. His is much more muted than hers, but I don't know. It's really sweet. Like, she'll be like, let's play. And he's like, nah, let's lay.
All right, I'm going to bring Roman up to join the show with us. All right.
There was one other question. Sharon had yeah.
So I have 3 stairs off my deck as well, and he does them, but I have stairs going all the way up to my 2nd floor that are wood, and he has never even tried them. So he can do the deck stairs. He doesn't seem to mind, but I mean, he is definitely getting up there on years. So I mean, sometimes I feel like I see him sigh before he has to come up.
Well, good. Nationalpyr.org, scrolling right across the bottom. Chubb's public, and he's available for adoption if you want a senior.
And I sigh before I have to go up a flight of stairs too, so I understand.
I don't.
I mean, so it's like,
well.
I don't think he cares, but every once in a while, I feel like he's like, okay, here we go. But I think that may have something to do with a lot of the snow.
And I'll tell you, I know I'm one of them that has a very soft spot for seniors. Okay, and they have a lot of information in there, and once you make your connection with them, they've got a lot to tell you. So with a full life like that. So nationalpyr.org, and you can he's got a foster, so we don't need a foster. He needs a forever home. Okay.
Oh, and Zita said, Maggie, that the other dog is an NGPR alum, so that's why she wanted to be on the broadcast. She wanted to, reconnect.
Yeah.
Say hi to Republic.
Yes.
There you go. So, and Melissa's right. Seniors are the best. And her husband is one of our transporters.
Yep.
So, anyway, and by the way, hi, Susan.
Hi, Susan.
Hi, Bella. And is Denali on our list here? No, next week. Okay, nationalpyr.org. If you want to adopt a senior, an awesome senior Cheb, that's where you go, right there.
Oh,
Laurel,
and the really nice thing about him is he's not much of a barker.
Oh, wait a minute. We got a question. How does he?
And they get along fine. I mean, they might be maybe like there's something by the basement door where they seem to kind of have to talk about it, but I mean, maybe a growl, maybe a swat, and then everyone breaks it up. So he doesn't chase the cat. He doesn't even really mess with the cat.
Looks like he really doesn't move a whole lot, but anyway.
No, I'm sorry he won't flip over. I mean, the other good thing about him is he hardly barks. Like my Maggie will be losing her mind over the neighborhood kids, and he will sleep through the whole thing. So if you have lots of work Zoom calls, he's your guy.
Wow.
Yeah, that's already a standard. If you work a lot with Zoom, you need that kind of dog. Yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
Yeah, it's nice because he stays downstairs by me and he'll sleep through all the calls.
Does he let you brush him?
Yeah, and he was really mad when I came, and he stood for all the grooming. I took him to the dog spa and washed him, and probably brush him once a day with the undercoat.
Awesome.
And he just like earlier I was brushing his tummy and the little legs went out so you could do like his leg. So he seems to enjoy it.
Cool.
Meanwhile, you guys should be kind of like flooded by phone calls. I need this dog now kind of thing, right?
Exactly.
That's
We're
right.
going to actually talk
It's like
about
a
grooming a
no-brainer.
little bit. We're going to talk about grooming a little bit later. So
2 things. He doesn't bark and he likes to be brushed.
Yeah.
So see, and she's not letting us see his face on purpose because
I know. I don't know why he's being a pill. He was like totally perfectly posed before. Come on, bud. No.
Well, you know what
No.
though? I have proof that he is a Pyrenees.
There.
And
he's so cute.
since Laurel won't let us see his face,
So no paparazzi.
this is one amazing boy. He came from Ohio. He came out of Greenville and off of a farm. And the shelter called me because I was their last known contact. And Zeta, wow, there's a good shot of him. Oh, look,
Yeah, look
there's
at
his
him.
face.
Yeah. There you are,
Yes.
baby.
So,
He's so sweet.
and Greg thinks he's a handsome guy. The man that has 5 dogs that are all handsome and pretty.
So Nancy asked about small dogs. Do you have any idea, Laurel?
I have no idea. When we walk, though, he doesn't really mess with anyone. So if we see other dogs that are barking at him, he might look at them and then just keep moving.
Okay.
So, I mean, the only thing I've ever seen him get really excited about are squirrels. So,
What dog doesn't?
yeah.
And then I guess I've got a question of my own. Do we even know what a small dog is? We're Great Pyrenees people.
Well,
Yeah, it's true.
she
he's
said
only
a Shih
about 90
Tzu,
pounds.
so.
Oh, he's
a
little.
Smaller Pyr. Yeah, he's littler.
Okay, cool. All right. Laurel, thank you for coming on. Just like last time, if you're more than welcome to watch the show from the green room. And if he does something like move, I'm bringing him back up so we know he's still alive. He didn't, but he's a good looking boy now, and he deserves a very good home. And Melissa's got a very awesome, a very, very good point here. He does have very soulful eyes.
He does.
So,
Yes.
all right, nationalpyr.org. Go out and adopt Cheb. And but you better hurry up and do it because there might be a line forming.
Yep.
All
Good
right.
boy.
Laurel, thank you.
Thank you, Laurel. Thanks, Cheb.
All righty. Let me find Laurel here. There she is. All righty. Okay, now here's what we got. We have a question for Roman.
Yay.
And we talked about this last week.
Uh-oh.
Oh, what? You don't remember again?
No.
All right. The question was, and I'm going to tell you, there's some people watching from California.
Oh, hello to California, ever sunshine state.
Yeah, but I've got some people from California, excuse me, that'll at least be watching the rerun. And some people in Alabama that's interested in this question amongst, well, it's a commonly asked question. Is my Pyr that chases her tail aggressively, is this normal?
No.
Okay. Thank you. Moving on.
So if a dog chases his tail, there are a couple of things. Make sure if the dog is a purebred. Obsessive behaviors sometimes stem from weird mixes. Dogs who chase their tail usually have some definitely behavior issues that we need to look in closer. I would definitely rule out neurological issues, but I don't think that would be kind of like the first focus, but definitely number 2 focus to chase. I would look into the dog's enrichment, what the enrichment plan looks like. An enrichment plan, I'm not talking about just Kong toys. There's food enrichment, there's an emotional enrichment, there's physical enrichment, there is relationship enrichment, all these enrichments that, like, think relationship with your best friend. What is the enrichment? Is it just playing cards? Sometimes it's drinking a glass of wine, sometimes it's going to the movies, sometimes it's going outside, watching a match or a game or something like that, talking about Sting, and all these things come together as enrichment. Otherwise it's been boring. And so if your friend has nothing else to do and just sits there and you guys have nothing to say, well, he's gonna start doing stuff or he's gonna leave. So your dog cannot leave because he's not going anywhere. And so dogs can create their own triggers, and this is where the things get a little bit tricky. Do I correct it? No, there's nothing to correct. We're going to look into the source of it and find out, why does my dog have the need to get there? What makes him have that need? And this is where we definitely need to look into a behavior history. Where is the dog coming from? What is past experience? Is there a trauma involved? Is it suddenly happening with no other changes? Is this a medical condition that we have to rule out? Is it something that happened because of any medication? I've seen dogs from specific breeds are tendencies to have obsessive behaviors. It's kind of like the brain is wired to be obsessive. Um, Herding dogs can be obsessive in their need to control things and in the need to affect things. They have nothing to affect, nothing to control. They're just controlling themselves. So it could be a behavior to self-enrich themselves. So I would say it's too complicated to kind of give it a rough answer how to address it. We have to look closer into it.
We had Austin chasing his tail, but we found a mat back there.
Mm-hmm. That would
So-
be another issue. Yeah, thanks for pointing it out. Sometimes chasing the tail could be influenced through allergies, but that's again it's a medical conditions and it goes into that chapter. But yeah, let's point it out. First of all, check in with your dog. Has any yeast allergies, any allergies that trigger the dog. For you guys who are ultra spiritual and into woo-woo stuff, I have heard from situations where there are different energetic triggers in the environment that can actually trigger the dog on purpose. I'll just leave it out there.
Okay.
I've also, am I correct that if it's a puppy that does it, a young puppy, that's part of their self-exploration of their body,
Yes.
which is different than if it's an older dog that does it? Is
Yes,
that correct?
age plays a role, and thank you for pointing it out. I try to keep it short in general. So, yeah, age is important. Sometimes the dog starts recognizing himself, what it is that chases him all the time behind himself, which is his tail, right? And all of a sudden, we catch up with that tail that chases us all the time, and it chases back, which is great. And sometimes they do that because they causes themselves to feel certain things like biting themselves. They bite their toes, they bite their legs. They cannot bite their ears, but they can bite their tail. So it's kind of like exploration about what do I do with myself and what do I do with things. Has nothing to do with sexual. So you guys, ew, no, nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
But so yeah, we can look into that a little bit. But if it becomes obsessive and nothing else than that, then it's kind of something we have to look for. That eventually an emotional development issue that is kind of kicking in there.
Yep.
Okay. There's actually another question.
Yeah.
Okay. It says they said that hello, have just adopted a year-old female Great Pyrenees who is appearing to handle our other 4 dogs extremely well. I want her to be comfortable around our 8 horses as well. The horses they're apparently behind the fence line, obviously. Need some tips on socializing her to the herd simply to make visits to the farm enjoyable. All right. The horses are not particularly bothered having years of exposure with the dogs.
Okay. So that's a great question. I'm gonna touch 2 points here. One is number one, the dog is reactive to horses because if a dog doesn't have exposure to such big animals, they can be surprised. You should have seen me meeting the first time a horse when I was young. I was like,
Yeah.
and I had a clue that I'm going to see horses, but I had no clue about the size of it. And then I saw it. I was like, wow, that's big. I stay away from it. So dogs can be triggered. Usually not, but they can. So I would say rather be proactive than reactive. When you take your dog on a leash. You want to be the only dog at that point. Unless you have other dogs that are already comfortable with those horses and they can be kind of like pilots and show him the way to meet those guys. But I would definitely have the leash on just in case. There are 2 things that can happen in that situation if you have the dog not on a leash. If the dog does respond aggressively towards the horses and the other dogs are guardian breeds and want to protect that horses, you may have a redirected aggression and your dog is in trouble because of his own partners, and you don't want to go down that route. The other thing I would look for is teaching the dog the threshold. Let the dog freely recognizing what's going on into that event. So recognizing emotional thresholds and physical thresholds. So for example, emotional threshold would be how long can the dog last into that environment. dealing with that big thing, and eventually, you know, make the horse making some noises of moves, and then the dog moves, and then the horse gets triggered, and all this, you know, snowball effect kicking in. So you want to stay in distance and recognizing where your dog's avoidance behaviors kicks in. So displacement behaviors, maybe call it. And you need to know that. And especially you have a dog that you haven't known yet well, you want to find out, not with your own environment, what's going to happen. So slowly go and recognize where the dog struggles. I have a 2-treat exercise. I call it discrete trial training, where you teach the dog the concept of reaching out for help if he feels uncomfortable. And I think Steve has already done a lot of work on Pyrenees help page somewhere. Maybe you want to share the link.
Let me actually, I can
the
show
2-treat exercise.
the 2-treat exercise. I used the video of the Great Pyrenees and that gal that you were working with. I will share that sometimes. You want me to show that one?
Yeah, that would be good because
Okay,
it helps a
let me
lot
get it
for all these
uploaded.
guys.
Let me get it uploaded.
And then meanwhile, while you do that, I'm going to explain further. That will help the dog feel safe and in alignment. And if he feels not in alignment in the situation and struggles, the first thing she's going to do is turn to you and tell you, hey, I'm going to lose my poop right now. I need your help. And then you know what to do next. Basically, walking your dog away from that threshold. So see threshold like you're in the living room, nice and cozy with your PJs, you're on the threshold, right? Now you get up, you go to the door, and you open the door and are inside the living room with open door, knowing that outside is cold. That you are right little before at threshold. As soon as you step beyond that threshold and you start feeling the cold, but you're not outside yet, you are at threshold. So your body already starts reacting to it. Ooh, goosebumps, cold. Like, oh, gee. And then you leave that threshold and you actually step into the porch or deck. Then you are over threshold because there you're going to be cold. And what do you do next? So understanding that as a threshold, we kind of a better picture. So you want to look at the settle movements of your dog, hesitation to move further. And some dogs, if you go beyond that threshold, they will trigger and then it's hard to get them back. So if you want to be proactive, you have to teach the dog what to do before he steps over that threshold, telling you, I'm about to do that, I'm not sure about to do that. And then you kind of like, hey, let's go back again. Let's start all over again. See how it feels like in a minute from now. So you remove your dog from emotional threshold. Then you have distance threshold. How close can your dog get to feel safe? Usually dogs have a threshold of 6 feet, but guardian breeds, it's way longer. It's basically the territory. You are at threshold if you touch that territorial area. It could be 20 acres, right? You want to be aware of that. So how far? So you go slowly, closer and closer until you see the first change of behaviors. Like, whoa, what is that? Whoop, that's the threshold. Mark that point, walk away, come back again. Couple of seconds later, as the dog feels comfortable and better, you can give him a treat. Walk back to that imaginary point and see how he feels there. If he feels more comfortable, nothing happened so far. Okay. As soon as the dog offers you a behavior that is considered comfortable, like sitting and waiting for your treat without you telling him to sit, then you know your dog is ready for the next step. So you can go closer and closer. I have done a video about that. I think I have to remember where it is. I'm happy to share with that.
I do have a video up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to bring Levi up so he can join us while the video's playing, okay?
Yeah, who's Levi?
He is a NGPR volunteer. He's a certified nutritionist.
Perfect.
Yeah, how about that?
We need that. Good to have somebody on board. So what we see here right now, and let me overtalk, is she offered the 2 treats in his nose so the dog smells what it is, and then open her arms in the same plane with the dog's face. And then as soon as the dog looks at the person, the dog gets a treat. And then you have rewards. The 2 treats are a reward, affection is a reward, and appreciation is an emotional reward. Don't skip that, all at the same time. And then you have 2 markers. Facial expression, because you're awesome and your dog is awesome, and the word good as a marker, as a an audio marker. So 2 markers and 3 rewards, all at the same time. So you have 5 things that happen at the same time. So you give your dog a treat, open your arms so the dog has the options to choose which one he wants. So obviously he wants both. But how does he get both? By checking with you. And then he gets both. That helps the dog get into the idea that, oh, you can help me with those complex problems? And you're like, yeah, you want to try it again? And all of a sudden your dog is like, oh, so you can help me with the door? Sure. When you have a problem with the door, just let me know. And your dog is like, okay, I'm standing in front of the door, staring at the door doesn't open. And you're like, yeah, I know that. And he's like, can you help me? Sure, thank you for doing that. Now I can open the door. And now you have a buffer in between. Before your dog reacts, he will always check in with you. And you will notice when you take your dog for a walk, he's going to walk with you and then he's going to turn like, how do I do? And you're like, you're awesome. You know, remember markers, right? You're awesome. A little bit of a patting and he gets a reward for it. Don't stop and don't cross the treat on your path. Give your treat on the side where you're walking, okay? And all of a sudden you have that thing going, right?
That's awesome. So, wow. Thank you, Roman.
Well, nutritionist, tell people what healthy dog treats out there.
And
Yeah.
this is what we're leading into.
Yeah.
You know, one of the openings in the description, I asked the question, is your dog starting to look like a football with legs because of treats? One of mine is. So, Levi, what about treats and keeping our dogs to where we're not hurting our dogs by giving them treats for rewards and whatnot, okay?
Of course. So if we're looking for your average training treat, you can always use the dog's kibble, of course. Just because when we're feeding treats to our dogs, we don't want it to exceed about 10% of their daily ration. And so while we're also giving possible kibble as a treat, you can take that from their daily ration instead of adding an extra 10% on, just take 10% away from the daily batch and offer that. Otherwise, there's always plenty of dog-safe fruits and vegetables. You could buy at the dollar store, like frozen vegetables and feed those to your dogs. So like the green beans, the carrots, the peas, those are all fine. And those, dollar store, it's $1 for frozen vegetables. They'll last forever. You can take them with you on a walk, put them in a little Ziploc baggie and reward the dog as you're going. And then of course there's the more normal treats. Something like, you've got your Zooks, you've got the Crunchios with Brahms. You could always do like some kind of sweet potato if you wanted, which is always good for gut health. And then there's also there's a brand of biscuits called Bochis or Bocce, Bocce. And they're all small batch and they're all around 2 or 3 calories per treat. And they're also very fairly priced as well.
I need to add something here. Do not get dog treats from the dollar store. No.
Yeah, don't get the dog treats from the dollar store, but the frozen vegetables in theory should be fine.
So, Levi, with somebody on a budget like mine, well, there is no budget. All right. In order to have a budget, you have to make enough money. So, so what would you recommend for somebody that needs a low-cost treat? And I'm willing to make something.
Oh, absolutely. So an easy low-cost treat would be something like, you're at the grocery store buying food for yourself or buying it online, whatever, we need to do in this crazy time. And something that I'll do is I'll buy like a tub of plain Greek yogurt and I will put that in an ice cube tray and I'll just make ice cubes of plain Greek yogurt. And those are a really convenient treat.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Wait a minute. Roman has to say here. I kind of missed what Roman just said.
Oh,
did
yeah.
you
What's
say
up,
Greek
Roman?
yogurt? I'm Greek. Yes.
Oh,
yeah. That's amazing.
Now, here's a question.
Sure.
Is popcorn safe for dogs?
Yes and no. So if we're thinking about like the normal human, like Orville Redenbacher's popcorn with the butter, the salt, the oil, definitely not. A few pieces fall on the ground, big deal. Who cares? But that should not be a frequent treat to do. So something like air popped, plain, unsalted, unbuttered popcorn, better for humans, better for dogs.
Okay. Yeah. So because my dog swiped some popcorn the other day and he didn't die. Okay?
Yeah, no, that's, yeah.
Okay. And my wife actually shares popcorn if the dog sits pretty and gives her the paw in the hand. She gets a piece of popcorn because she's eating it.
Of course.
But she also doesn't do it either, except I do have a dog that looks like a football with legs.
Yeah.
But in all fairness, she has hyperactive thyroid. So
maybe it's popcorn with legs now.
Yeah, hers was better. Yeah. All right.
But, so the popcorn is fine in small batches, but ideally for a dog, if you wanted to use it as a training treat, it should be unbuttered, unsalted, unoiled.
Okay.
Pyrenees do great on fermented foods too.
Yes, they do.
Okay. Wow,
I've
Levi.
heard fermented fish stock is really good for dogs.
No, as a dog treats. Holy no!
Not
it
as a
stinks.
treat.
Oh,
Not
okay.
as a treat. But just in general. But like as a food additive, I don't know if that's true or not. I've just actually it was in a canine kidney group and trying to entice a dog that isn't wanting to eat because it's so stinky. You know, it can sometimes entice a dog that is maybe struggling with wanting to.
Now
eat.
I do have one last question for Levi. Now, say for example that I have an unlimited budget. What would you suggest as a treat for that?
Yeah, so if money was not an issue, one of my favorite things in the whole wide world is the Levi Peak that could be used as a treat or a food. But I also am not made of money, so I just use it as a treat. It's made out in New Zealand. It's air dried, and it is one of the highest quality things money can buy.
Okay.
Great.
So there's a question.
Oh, yes, that's it.
That's it right there, isn't it?
Perfect.
Oh,
of course, Roman.
Did I mention that Roman is also a nutritionist?
Don't judge me off that bag. How much money I make?
No, it's okay, Roman. I know how much those go for.
Zita wants to know if she should be concerned if her dog burps a lot.
So, I mean, the Pyrenees is a breed well known for having digestive issues, or at least an upset stomach. And so my boy, for example, will always burp in my face. He'll get up right in my face and I'll be like, "Hi, I love you." Like, amazing. I love you too.
All right.
You do that.
I want to know, Nancy wants to know where you get fermented fish stock. And we'll go back.
The brand that I heard about is, I think it's Answers.
That's a good one. Yeah. Yeah, Answers is a really, really good brand.
So most of your, again, not like your PetSmart or made like, big box pet food, but like some of your smaller specialty pet stores will carry Answers. Oh,
perfect,
I think
Roman.
Yes.
Now, we do have the holistic dog training / healing center / grocery store out there in Oregon.
You know what I really love is that we did not practice this. So Roman just happens to have the stuff we're talking about. It's great. Susan asked the name of the treat from New Zealand. Was it Ziwi Peak?
Yes. ZIWI Peak.
Okay.
And that's for the person that has an unlimited budget for their dog.
Shut up.
Or if you
I
just
spend
want to break
more
them
for my
into smaller
Chihuahua than I spend
training
for
treats,
you
it's
guys.
fine.
Okay. Did we
Or maybe
finish?
doesn't have 6 of them. Like.
Did we finish answering Zita's question?
Oh no, I don't think we did. Yeah, so the dog burping a lot, I guess we'd want to take a look at what we're feeding the dog. And so a lot of that upset stomach or just the extra gas could be from a gastrointestinal issue. And so if you need to add some extra pumpkin or sweet potato to the dog's diet, or we just need to take a look at the overall brand of food or ingredients that we're feeding, then maybe we should take a step back.
And the raw goat's milk, can that be helpful too for the digestive issues?
Absolutely. So something like the raw goat's milk, like either from Primal or Answers, those are also very good. Those ones will help with a lot of adding probiotics and prebiotics to the gut health, and it will coat the stomach and give it something to do for upset stomachs or just adding a better healthy gut tract.
Now, this is more of a medical thing for a vet, but you are a nutritionist.
I can do my best.
Bill's GI prescription food. All right. There's a lot of controversy here. Okay.
Sure.
So let's just move. I mean, how do you tell your vet you're full of crap? You know what?
Well,
Yeah.
and I also think to a certain degree, you have to do what's working for your dog. So
Agreed.
if it is working for your dog and the tumor is staying stable, it would be, you might look at maybe some supplements to add that could improve things, but you don't. I mean, if it's working, sometimes there's that don't fix what's not broke. But then there's also the issue of maybe trying something, if you think things are progressing, then maybe you want to try something different to see if it would be better. She has a dog with a tumor in his intestine.
See, that's the problem. The dog has a tumor.
Right.
All right. So that's not a fair question.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's so many things with that.
This is a very fair question.
Yeah. Can dogs be sensitive?
Yeah. Yes, they can. So dogs, especially dogs that show issues with eating anything with grains in their food, can have that sensitivity to like the wheat or some of the other products in there. So sometimes like that grain-free where they use instead like lentils or legumes for the binder of the protein instead might be better for them.
Now you saw who asked that question, right?
I sure did. Just now.
Yeah.
This is not
So you already knew the answer, Roman.
Well, Roman, if Roman asked a question, he already knows the answer. Okay.
Of course.
Well, it's also
No, I don't. Whoa. Hello. I don't know everything. You have a nutritionist on board. It's a very fair question.
Every time Roman and I get into an argument, he says that. I don't know everything. He says, yes, you do. Roman, he won't admit to walking on water. Okay. And I get that. I don't walk on water. Neither does Levi. So,
I wanted to add something to the cancer thing. I don't have personal experience with cancer, but I work closely with holistic veterinarians, and Levi will confirm cancer feeds from sugars.
Mm-hmm.
And
absolutely.
regular dog food is full of sugars. So I would recommend, if your dog has an issue and has cancer, I would feel the nutritional aspect of that solution is not a veterinarian's job, it's a nutritionist's job. So what you do, you call Levi, hey, I have a problem. Can I have a consultation? Here's the blood work. This is the problem I have. And he puts together a nutritional, plan. It doesn't give you a company to buy food. A plan, what you do, where you start, where you switch, preparations, and all these things. You want to eventually completely change your ideas, and just feeding chicken and rice is not what your dog needs right now. Plus, stress is a big thing. I have seen dogs turning their cancer around, a mouth cancer that couldn't even eat correctly, and turn the dog around in 4 months.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it a miracle? No. Will it solve your problem? Yeah, maybe. We don't know. But the best route to go is go to the source. A veterinarian doesn't have education on nutrients or nutrition. All they do have sales pitches. 3 hours. They have to sit in a room and hear all those pitches of everyone. And then they have to sell the products because somebody has to pay the bill, right? So, yeah, I think we should go to the right person to hear the right things. And that's why I'm asking questions, because I'm not a certified nutritionist.
And now that I got chewed out politely by Roman, now, can burping be caused because the food bowl is too low? We don't know that answer, do we?
I don't think so.
So if I can... And somebody, and Barb, I'm going to combine these two questions, because Barb asked if he burps, he won't bloat, is what she had heard. And is there any truth to that? So there is some studies, if your dog is burping and farting, that it means digestion is working. And it means that it's not getting trapped inside, which is a positive thing. However, if you have a dog that excessively burps, it means that they're getting too much air on a consistent basis. And you do need to look at changing the food or changing their diet, because something is not working. Leo, my dog that did bloat, after after his bloat surgery, he cannot do anything with peas or lentils or legumes of any kind. It really causes too much air in his system. So that's something that, I've had to be, because even though he had the surgery to tack his stomach so that he can't have the twisting with the bloat anymore, he can still bloat.
Right.
So, we watch that very carefully with him. But that's him as an individual dog. That, my other dogs can do peas and legumes just fine. So, you kind of have to look at what you're feeding the dog, and if he's having excessive air, I feel like you have to adjust that. As far as the food bowls, low or high, there's studies out of Purdue that say that raised food bowls are more likely to increase bloat. There were studies from another university that said that food bowls on the floor can increase bloat. So it's about 50-50. And a lot of those studies didn't account for the fact that people with larger breeds tend to elevate their bowls anyway. So the fact that there was a higher incidence in those breeds, was that because the food bowl was elevated, or is that because more people elevate their food bowls?
Right.
So when you really look into the studies, bloat is one of those things that, because I had a dog with bloat, I read as much as I possibly could about it. And I feel like the eating on the floor or eating elevated is kind of, it seems like it's about half and half when you look at the studies. Some of my dogs eat on the floor. One of my dogs eats elevated because he won't eat any other way. And if I don't put it elevated, he will take his bowl and move it to the couch.
Yes. Now, let's move about the hard-boiled egg.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be perfectly fine. I think a good cooked egg is great for dogs. The yolk might be a little fatty.
Now, what about the egg shells?
I probably wouldn't do that one. The
Okay.
dogs could digest it all well and good. But I guess it'd be a good source of calcium. I'd have to look further into the eggshell one, I guess.
Okay.
And
We
Nancy,
still have the nutritionist.
and I think, Nancy, I know one of your dogs has kidney disease, I think, and so there's some benefit depending on where your dog's levels are. So I know that with the kidney dogs, you want to really look at their calcium level and their phosphorus levels. And if you're using a phosphorus binder, if you use the alumina, it's an aluminum. There's an aluminum one, and then there is a calcium phosphorus binder. But if you use the calcium phosphorus binder, you have to really watch the calcium, because too high of calcium levels can cause heart issues. Oh, you're on mute, Steve.
He's burping.
I said
He
Roman.
had too many treats.
I said Roman just went and got something else, but I think those were human treats. All right, Levi. Wow, we got so many extra questions. We're gonna have you on again.
Yes.
I'd love to.
Yeah.
I think we should, Steve. I don't know. I'm not managing your programs, but I would definitely. I'm totally on board to doing a nutritional thing with Levi.
Okay.
Because here's where I'm coming from. Bad quality nutrition can cause aggression, and the last thing you want is to call me. And where do you start? At Levi. Healthy feeding causes not to call me, which is beneficial.
Yeah.
So
We always, whenever we work with a dog that has their issues, the first thing we clear is medical. The second thing we clear is nutrition. That's how that works. Okay, that's the first things we talk about on behavior problems. So
Well, and because you're looking at the whole picture of the dog, so you're looking at all aspects of the dog's well-being.
yeah. So
can I have an insert, a short insert on my way out? I know I have a class today, and I know Steve and Susan are attending. So whoever is watching,
you're gonna
I'm attending too.
class.
Oh, you do too?
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
And Rachel will be there.
Good to know. Okay, so today 3:00, last call. When you start 3:00 to sign up, you will not get anywhere. You're gonna end up blocked. So I would say as early as possible.
Eastern time is 6 o'clock, Levi.
Yes. Yep. I'm good for it.
So thank you. We ought to move on because we got the rest of the show to do in 15 minutes. So,
Yep.
Roman, thank you.
Kick me out.
Yes,
Okay, bye, Roman.
we will
Levi.
definitely have to do a nutrition show. I think would be
Absolutely.
I'd
great.
love to.
Levi, you are a
Absolutely.
wealth of information here, a wealth of welcome information. Okay.
I try to be.
And Levi is relatively new to NGPR, and we wanted to introduce him. So there we have it. Now,
Thanks so much for being on.
and
It
boy,
was-
I'll
Thank
tell
you.
you, his segment lasted longer than I expected.
It was popular.
So Levi, I'm going to move you. If you're welcome to stay with us here, because we got something we got to do, and Rachel's going to leave us for a second.
Okay.
Because she has a surprise. Okay.
Can I talk? Should I go ahead and talk about the grooming stuff real quick?
In the meantime, let's talk about grooming for a second.
Okay.
She's only
So-
10 feet away, just so you know.
Oh, well, then I can wait if you want. We
Okay.
can talk about whatever else.
I'm going to be bringing her up here. So
Okay.
as soon as she gets over there.
It is a wonderful surprise. Some of you may know if you've seen our Facebook page. I think there was a update on there.
Yeah. She's
So
over. She's there. There we go.
Yep.
There we go. I just watched her pick it up. And Rachel, we're bringing you up. Now, for some reason, she may not have audio. Everybody, I want you to meet Austin right there. And
Love it.
Gracie is crashed out in the crate. Okay. And that was our big news. Gracie's been in rescue for, I believe, 1,260 days. Out of that 1,260 days, all but 90 of them have been in boarding or our kennel, that New Beginnings kennel.
Yep.
And, well,
So 4 years in boarding, and she is finally in a home.
and what's she do? She goes right in the kennel.
Well, there's safety and familiarity there.
Now,
so.
And there's Austin. Look at that boy.
And
Look at
Austin,
that tail up. He is happy. He's looking out a window. He didn't have a window at the kennel.
he is so very happy to be running around barking, doing what peers do.
That's right. That is
Yep.
right. So,
And you know what's interesting is that Gracie had to be an only dog at one time.
she had to be the only animal at one time.
And look at her little tail wag.
Look at
She's like-
Gracie.
Yep. She's just
Goodness. And she was the kennel princess, if everybody remembers right.
yep.
Now,
Princess
there's
Gracie.
still another thing. We also moved another dog out of boarding, and that was Bowie.
Yes. And we're gonna have to have him on soon
Took
too.
Bowie. Greg did. So look
Yeah.
at Gracie. She is still the princess. And I don't care where you are, who you are, she's still the princess. Okay.
Oh. She barked hello.
Nancy, you're absolutely right. This is awesome news for Austin and Gracie. And I got another tidbit of information. Shh, don't tell Rachel, I'm going to tell, but she's interested in adopting Austin.
Yep.
And we got plans for Gracie. I don't know what's wrong with the iPad. For some reason, I mean, I don't know why there's no microphone on the iPad. I have no idea. So we're going to get the iPad down to somebody that knows what to do with them and find out why there's no audio. So,
Yeah,
and
so Steve had to help me with my laptop, and because, but I can help him with the iPhone
That's
stuff.
right. That-
Or the Apple products.
yeah, as far as I know, it's not muted, but I'm not the one over there. Look at all of it. Look at this fur flying.
Look at the love.
Isn't this awesome? Isn't this amazing? Look at the fur. Gracie she's still just so gorgeous. Austin is just so handsome
Yep.
and so intentive and so intuitive. That's what I meant. I shouldn't say those big words.
They're just, I mean, it's just so, it's very heartwarming to see them in a home.
Yeah, I know.
They
I know Rachel can read the comments. So,
Yep.
but there we go. So,
Nancy wanted to know if she has her stick. I think she has quite a few sticks out there.
I got 3 trees out in the backyard, Nancy. Yep, they're sticks. Okay.
Yep.
So, yes, this is awesome. And we even put one of the Snappy Fit bowls in that crate. That's a Midwest Pest for Home 54-inch crate. Okay. And as you can see, she's a big girl. That's a 54-inch crate. She's 100 pounds, 99, call it 100. And if we don't, and when we follow the Levi's advice on treats, she'll stay at that weight. So she won't turn into a football with legs. So, and Biff, we just do everything we can to help our breed, and so do you. So, anyway, this is amazing.
A little awesome.
Absolutely amazing. So anyway, we're gonna, if Rachel can hear me, we're gonna have her set the iPad back down and come on back, and we'll finish the show. We still have more.
We do.
We do.
Yep. So bye, Austin and Gracie.
Bye, Austin and Gracie.
We will see you again soon.
We will.
So cute.
Now, wow. Isn't that awesome?
It is. Yep.
Austin's drinking water right now.
She said they say bye.
Yep, she did, didn't she? That's Rachel commenting as all of the pages. So anyway, now grooming or brushing. It's shedding season.
It is shedding season, and we know that all seasons are shedding seasons with Pyrs, but we're really getting into the heavy shedding season. So we thought we'd just go over real quick a few tools that you're going to want to make sure you have. I've seen these questions quite a bit lately on some Great Pyrenees forums. So rakes are important to have.
Now, rake.
Yes. So now I have 6 different Pyrs and Pyr mixes. They all have different coats, different length of coats. For Enzo, my Pyr Collie mix, you guys have seen him before, I know. He's got really, really long hair, so I love the rescue rake. It has really long tines, if you can see. It's hard to, sorry. And so it really is able to get in there and help kind of pull out some of that undercoat.
Yes.
For some of my more middle length dogs, I like this one. It has kind of long and short. For my shorter haired, I like this one. There's 2 rows. 2 rows. And they're kind of, they're shorter tines, and you don't need to press real hard. You don't want to press real hard because that, it can kind of hurt if you catch their skin. So you just kind of go through, but rakes are very, very important. Then you want your slicker brush. That just kind of helps. That makes them pretty. After you've done all the work, and it really helps pull out the loose fur. We also have, for dogs who don't like to be brushed, this is a grooming mitt by Norwex, which is kind of a chemical-free company, but it's great. It's like it just attracts all the excess hair. So if you have a dog that doesn't like to be brushed, you do still kind of have to get into some of those, undercoat a little bit, but you can use this to kind of get all the loose fur out, especially with any of the shorter haired, Pyr mixes or Pyrs that you can really, they just feel like they're getting petted with a nice glove on. So, none of them really mind this. And this is great.
I had a smaller version with the little nubs on it.
Yep.
But Sasha ate it. Sorry. Well, now, here's my favorite. Well, one of my favorites.
Yep.
Right. This is a knockoff of an Oster. Okay. For some reason, I can't get the Oster anymore. And, Sasha ate the other one. Seems to be a common denominator there. But,
Well, what's really funny is I talked about slicker brushes, and see this little tiny cat slicker brush? Just see how small that is in the palm of my hand. Sophie, this is the brush that she likes. Do you know how long it takes to brush this huge dog with this little tiny slicker brush, but this is the one she likes. So this is the one we use. I also think every Pyr owner should have a comb. Combs are so important. And, you know, when you're dealing with mats, I wanted to bring up cornstarch.
Cornstarch. What's this cornstarch? What? Are you going to cook your dog?
So if you have a dog that has mats, all you do is you take a little, like, you leave them dry, you know, don't wash them until after you get all the mats out. But you just take a little bit of cornstarch and rub it into the mat, and you would be surprised at how much easier it really combs out. You want to use the comb, but it really makes it so much simpler to get that mat out. And it makes it so it's not as painful for them, so they tolerate it better. And it's just cornstarch. So it's a quick, inexpensive way to really help comb out those mats. I did not believe, I happened to read this. I had picked up a dog out of a shelter, Delilah, and she was matted like from head to toe. And they had even talked about, well, we might have to shave her. And I was like, we are not shaving her. So I Googled and found cornstarch, and I was like, well, let's try it, right? And do you remember, Steve, I had that huge pile of mats that I had combed out of her in just about 15 or 20 minutes. It was amazing how much easier it made the process.
Makes it slippery.
Yes.
Now, a little messy, but I would rather have messy.
Yes. Well, but you know, it really wasn't too bad. It kind of, after you get the mat combed out, then you use the slicker brush, and that kind of helps pull the remaining cornstarch out.
I'm talking about messy on the floor.
Oh yeah, it does. It is a little messy on the floor.
And I may have used too much.
Just a little pinch. You just use a little pinch and rub it into the mat.
I used the whole jug.
And I also wanted to point out 2 tools, because as they shed, we all know that that gets into carpet and couch fibers and car fibers. This little thing, actually, one of our fosters had mentioned this, and I had to order it right away. And it seems so simple. It just has a rubber blade around it, but it's great for the car, for getting hair that's trapped into the car, like the carpet. It works great. It works great on other furniture. It really just kind of brushes it all out. Oh,
that's Nancy's take on the cornstarch.
Yes.
All right. Now, Jane. Hi, Jane. Say hi to Lincoln for me.
Yes.
They have a tail time grooming Lincoln's tail. Are their tails extra sensitive?
So I feel like Pyrs in general have an issue with grooming their back ends. At least
I could give you a behavior answer on this.
At least for a number of the Pyrs out of my pack, you know, some of them will tolerate the legs, but they get real sensitive on the tail. Now, I do try to be careful and kind of hold the hair where it's not matted, and, you know, and then kind of brush it out. I always show them the brush beforehand so that they see what it is. I let them sniff it as I go to do it. We always kind of do the tail later. So, you know, they'll tolerate it to a little bit better degree. And Steve, what's your behavior answer there?
That's the second most protected part of their body. Attached from the rear.
Yep, that makes sense.
The number one protected part of their body is their neck. Okay. So don't put prong collars or shock collars on their neck.
Okay.
Put it around their shoulders or something if you insist on using one. And then the second area is when the coyote or the wolf come from behind. So anyway, now
makes sense.
That was awesome. Is that? I
think that's it.
Okay.
Just some quick tips and tricks.
We have a minute. I want to cover slideshow dogs.
Jane, if he sees the brush, he's gone.
Jane,
I have one of those too.
There's a behavior answer for that one too.
Try the mitt.
Try the mitt. All right. The behavior answer is I'm out of here. All right. So.
I mean, the mitt won't get all of it, but it will at least get you through a little bit.
Right. Hang on, I gotta set my share screen up here. Just a second here. I'm almost ready.
Yep.
Okay, everybody. We're gonna do what we did every 2 weeks. We changed our dogs that are on the slideshow at nationalpyr.org. Okay, and we're only gonna have time to do 3 of them this week.
Yep.
And we'll do the other 3 next week. And so our first dog that's on the slideshow is whoops. There we go. It's going to be a little girl, and her name is well, I'm going to have to scooch back to it. I'll wait for her to come back up. No, I won't. Our first girl is Luna. Okay, if some of you remember, we had her on last week, and but she was a popular girl, so she made the slideshow again. And Rachel's going to tell us a little bit about her.
Yep, this is Luna. She's a beautiful girl that may look a bit familiar. She was a guest on the broadcast 2 weeks ago, but has still not found her special home. She's 5.5 years old. She loves her time outside, then is happy to come in at night and take a nap on her dog bed. Luna walks well on leash and likes to play with other playful males in her foster home.
Okay. The next dog we want to feature. This is an adorable young guy.
Yes,
Luke.
This is Luke. Luke is 4 years old. He was rescued from a hoarding situation. He's in boarding and is patiently waiting for his forever home. Luke must have a tall, secure fence, at least 6 foot. He is a bit too curious about cats and should be in a cat-free home. He loves his outdoor time at the kennel. With the right Pyr experienced owner that will give Luke the time and patience to settle in, he will thrive in his new home.
Okay, now this last one, oh boy, this is my buddy.
Oh,
And this is Garth.
yeah.
This handsome boy is 2.5 years old and patiently waiting for his forever home as well. He loves to play with his foster siblings almost as much as he loves to be with his people. Garth is doing well on leash, but he too also needs a Pyr experienced owner to continue his positive reinforcement training to be the best dog that he can be.
That's right. Now, while we're up here, did you guys notice that we have our own banner for the show? Okay.
We do.
After the show, they post a link to today's show. Now, I also want to mention right here, you see that down there? See that getting big? Our Amazon wish list.
Yes.
We still need training treats. We still have dogs. Remember, now those folks that do the Sam's Club stuff, we need a hand again. I hate begging for money all the time and begging for stuff, but I do want to cover this. Okay. I want to verify that.
Oh,
Carol,
yep.
So know the name of the mitt.
So it's Norwex. It is their, trying to see if I can see what it's called. It's their grooming mitt. So you can actually use this wet as well. You can use this if you're washing your dog. I like to use it dry just as a way to help collect hair. But yep, Norwex.
All right. Susan wants to know Levi's contact info. It's the Pyr Show at nationalpyr.org.
Yep.
That's Levi's contact info. Okay. And it's easy. Just a second. If my producer is awake, we can put the email up there. Okay. And
I'm just going to put, Susan said she got the rescue rake through NGPR and both Pyrs come running to get brushed. My Pyrs like the rescue rake too.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So they enjoy that.
When I dig out the rescue rake, my Pyr comes running to me, but he throws me around like a rag doll and says, "Don't you're going to use that on me." Anyway, all right. Now we're having fun. The Pyr Show at nationalpyr.org. That's how you get a hold of Levi. Okay. And or us, Susan, me, and then with and if you have to get a hold of Roman for whatever the reason may be, his is whoops.
There we go.
Oh,
It was up.
Roman at holisticdogtraining.org. Okay.
Yep.
and he's all over the place because he's very high profile, because he's very good. All right.
He is very good.
He's very good. So anyway, and that's it. We're done for the day.
We are.
Yeah. Everybody's going to flee here pretty soon. So are we. All right. We're out of here. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week, 1:00. We got a special guest.
Yep.
Last week, we showed you pictures of him, and his name is Bear. He's in Ohio. Next week, well, we're going to bring him on. You know, pictures don't do him justice.
No,
And
he's so cute.
And plus, his foster sister is somebody close to our hearts, and that's little Ivy. She was at the kennel with us. So we're going to get to see Bear and Ivy, and we might get sneak peeks at her other dogs too. So Claudia is going to join us next week, hopefully. Unless she changes her mind, then we're stuck with the picture show again. But you know, every picture tells 1,000 words. We know that. So
Can't wait to see all of them.
thank you for joining us. Next Saturday, we'll see you with Bear. And let's see if we can get Levi to maybe answer another question or two. But man, we weren't expecting this kind of response. Thank you so much, everybody, for participating. Okay. So, and so next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.